Okay, good day to everyone. Okay, since almost 1 week tayong walang discussion, walang meet up, so they required us to do a kind of this discussion through virtual or video presentation. So I hope you understand why. Para hindi rin kayo mali kasi malapit na ang final exam. So, let's do a recap with our topic. I know some of the slides in this topic ay na-discuss ko na. And then, some part ay hindi pa. For the continuation purposes and then for some recap na din. So, our topic for Module 3 is all about geomorphic processes. So, pag sinabi natin geomorphic processes, ito yung mga karaniwang nangyayari beyond geosphere or beyond Earth. It's either internal or external. Yung tinatawag natin na endoprocess or exogenic process. So, Earth planet is a dynamic that contains different kinds of minerals and rocks and always exposed with different kinds of weather and climates. So, this process referred us to as geomorphic processes which involve physical and chemical interaction with different kinds of modes. So, mostly sa weathering and erosions and mass wasting, lahat ito nangyayari. Geomorphic process plays a vital roles with regards to shaping our landforms. So, kaya nagiging maganda yung scenery na meron tayo because of geomorphic processes po iyon. So, as you can see here in the slides or pictures, okay, lahat yan ay byproduct ng geomorphic process. Okay? Ang pinagkapareho-pareho nilang lahat, they are made from natural phenomenon. Pag sinabi kasi natin geomorphic process, hindi yan man-made. Most commonly, yan ay through natural process, hindi kayang gawin ng tao. Meron tayong tinatawag na mass wasting due to human destruction. But somehow, most commonly, yung weathering, erosion, that is occur by natural disaster or natural phenomenon. So, isa sa process na meron tayo sa geomorphic process is the exogenic process. Ano nga ba si exogenic process? Okay, mag-rely lang tayo dun sa first two letters from our prefix, that is X or exogenic. Pag sinabing exogenic, that is the outside of the Earth. Kasi ang boundary niyan, pagitan niyan, mula Earth surface sa tinatapakan natin up to high or upper, that is exogenic. Kung ano man ang nangyayari doon, part na yon ng exogenic. While kapag sinabi naman nating endogenic, from talampakan natin pababa o sa interior nung core or nung planet natin, ng Earth planet, that is endogenic process. So, yun lang naman ang pinagkaiba nila. So, yun. Sa exogenic process, meron tayong different kinds of natural phenomenon that can occur at can affect the landforms na meron tayo. Unang-una doon is the weathering. So, it is a process where rocks, soil, and other minerals are broken down or worn away over time by natural element like even plants, animals, or it's either wind, water, temperatures. So, yan yung cause ni weathering. So, paano nga ba na-worn away? Paano nga ba nasisira, nabobroken down yung mga soil na meron tayo or yung mga rocks na meron tayo? Diba sa weather, madalas, kapag init-ulan, katulad na nangyayari ngayon, but somehow ngayon kasi is more on ulan talaga. So, ang tendency is erosion. Pero kapag init-ulan, ang tendency kasi yung rocks composition natin is numinipis or rumurupok. Kaya nagbo-broken down yung mga rocks into smaller pieces. Mapapansin natin yan kapag parating init at lamig, init-lamig. So, yung tendency, pwedeng ma-break apart or break little yung mga rocks na meron tayo because of that. So, that is the best example nung pwede rin. Pwede naman with regards to plan. Paano po pag-plan? For example, nagtanim ako sa isang paso. Then, tendency is, lumalaki yung plant, pero hindi na siya kasya sa pasong babasagin. So, tendency noon, mabibreak niya yung pasong babasagin. So, magka-crack yun because of the force na ine-exert nung plant natin while growing up. So, that is an example of physical weathering. Pag sinabi naman natin chemical weathering, syempre, meron ng changes with regards to chemical composition ng certain substance. So, ganun lang naman siya. Pag physical weathering, most commonly, physical appearance lang ang nati-change, but somehow, in chemical weathering naman, set of chemical composition na yung nababago sa isang rocks, soil, or anything else. Basta yon, merong chemical changes or reaction na nangyari. That is under chemical weathering na. So again, we have two types of weathering. Una is mechanical, but somehow we often call it physical. And then next one is the chemical weathering. So chemical or mechanical physical weatherings, sometimes it occurs because of the temperature and pressure. Kaya nabibitak yung rocks at nade-deform at nababago yung physical changes. So, kumbaga, ang nababago lang is the physical attributes, but somehow the composition, mineral composition is not changed. Then, sa chemical weathering naman po, nagkakaroon tayo ng chemical reaction. So, dito nababago yung chemical composition ng isang minerals. For example, okay, yung iron, ilulubog natin sa tubig for a moment of months. Ang tendency is magkakaroon ng kalawang yung ions because nga nilubog natin siya sa tubig. Kasi nga, nag-undergo siya into chemical reaction from oxidation process. So, kaya nagiging kalawang or nagkakaroon ng kalawang. So, merong chemical reaction. Kung wala siyang chemical reaction, definitely, iron pa rin yan. Walang mababago. Kung ano yung physical attributes na nilagay mo that time, so hindi siya mag-change. Okay, physical weathering involves the physical breakdown of rocks without change in their chemical composition. For example, nahati yung bato or yung diamond. Yung kabilang part ng diamond pa rin yon, made of carbon pa rin. At yung kabila din is made of carbon pa rin, carbon dioxides. So, yun lang naman si physical weathering. Nabibreak lang into smaller pieces of nati-change yung physical attributes, yung katangian niya, pero yung chemical composition ay hindi, naka-remain pa rin siya. So, caused yun by physical weathering due to the temperature and then pressure. So, the more nang umiinit, tapos biglang lamig, may tendency na mag-crack yung rocks. Yung mga nakikita natin sa mga pader, diba? Nakikita natin na may mga cracks. That is because of physical weathering. Nababakbak or yung nabubukbok. So, yan. That is physical weathering. So, example ay ito. So, yan. Yung mga rocks na nakita nyo sa slides, that is an example of physical weathering. Then, meron din physical weathering because of the movements of other parts. So, for example, yung nakita nyo sa slides is the movements of waters. Ito naman ay tumatagal ng million years, or 1,000 years, or 100 years. Okay? Hindi siya basta-basta, nabibitak siya because of the changes, because of the physical reactions then nung pores nung water habang tumutulo, drag down. So, naiipon lang yun na naiipon hanggang sa lumalim yung pinaka-hole niya at ma-break apart na yung pinaka-rocks mismo. Okay, what is the process of physical weathering? So, una is yung unloading. caused by overlaying rocks was removed. Most commonly, sa mga pader, yun nga, yung nagre-remove tayo ng rocks, natatanggalan or nabubukbok, that is unloading. Soil crystal grown, most commonly makikita natin to sa mga tubing dagat. Then frost wedging, and then abrasion and heat and cold cycle. Most commonly kasi, yung karaniwan natin nakikita sa physical weathering is the heat and cold cycle. Si abrasion po, depende yon. It's either effects po ng water, so yung pag-carried nung small sediments or nasasama yung small sediments into water, air, gravity, and then more. Sa water, most commonly, pumapasok dito yung erosion. Pag bumabaha, malakas yung agos ng tubig, may nasasamang sediments, that is abrasion. Sa Middle East naman, kapag nagkakaroon ng sandstorm, that is also an example of abrasion. So, ganun lang naman siya. Then, proceed tayo sa chemical weathering. Si chemical weathering, again, nababago yung physical attributes niya. Same with physical composition. Kasi nga, nag-undergo siya ng chemical reaction. So, most commonly, diba, meron tayong gold. So, sino ba sa inyo nakapapanood na ng acid gold testing? So, gold is considered as minerals. But somehow, kapag pinatakan natin siya ng acid solution, nade-dissolve siya, nagkakaroon ng chemical reaction. That is an example of chemical reactions or pwede rin chemical weathering. So, yon. Chemical weathering is caused by rainwater reacting with the minerals gained in rocks to form new minerals. So, depende kung merong madidissolve or merong mag-a-arise na bagong minerals because of the chemical reactions. Sa rain kasi minsan may kasama yung acid rain kapag bigla ang ulan, init yan. May acid rains yun na pwedeng makasira sa isang chemical composition nung certain minerals. Sa tao nga kapag ang ulan ay may kinukonsider as acid, pwedeng mapaso or yun, malapnos yung balat mo kapag acid rain ang usapan. Okay, we have different types of chemical weathering. So, yung reaction with water, most commonly, nag-undergo siya with hydrolysis. Ito nakita nyo sa slides natin, yung first picture na parang kuweba. Yan ay, yung mga nakita nyo mga patusok-tusok, stalagmites yan. Yan ay example ng chemical weathering. So, yung pagsasama ng sediments into solution, nagbubuo siya ng stalagmites or ng rocks composition. Then, reaction with oxygen, ito naman yung sa rocks, yung nagkakaroon ng ibang kulay, that is a process of oxidation naman. So, for example, si iron, nabasa, na-expose kay H2O, si H2O ay may oxygen, that is, mag-iba yung kulay. Kaya kung makita natin sa metal, diba, nagiging reddish yung kulay. Nagkakaroon tayo ng chemical reactions. Sa lupa naman, ito nakita nyo, reaction with acid, nagkakaroon ng manhole or hole, butas-butas. So, may tendency kasi na the more na acid yung water, the more na nakakasira siya ng chemical composition ng soil or ng rocks. Depende. Maski nga, again, sa balat ng tao, kapag yan ay sobrang acidic yung water or yung ulan, pwedeng makapaso. So, ganun din. May side effect din siya with other minerals. Aside from yun, nakasira yung composition, there are certain phenomena din na nangyayari, which is naiipon yung tubig sa ilalim, underground, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng hole or manhole na tinatawag. Then, pwedeng reaction with organism. Si organism ay part din ng chemical reaction. Depende sa chemical reaction na ibinibigay ng certain organism. At nakaka-apekto sa certain minerals. So, what is the process of chemical weathering? Una, hydrolysis. Most commonly, nakikita natin siya yun sa kuweba, yung mga stalagmites, kung paano sila nabubuo. Or sa bahay, pwede din natin siyang makita kapag tinignan nyo yung takurin ninyo at meron mga latak ng parang bato. That is a best example on how hydrolysis wave. Hindi nga lang ganun siya na exact na process, but somehow yun, kung paano lang nabubuo. Then the solution happen when soluble minerals found in rocks are dissolved by water. So there are kinds of minerals like talc na madali lang masira pag na-expose to water. Then, oxidation process yun, nag-change ng color or pwedeng ma-break yung rock into pieces. Ganun sa iron. Habang tumatagal na naibababad to water, ang tendency is rumurupok yung bakal or kinakalawang. So, nabi-break into part. Nag-iba rin yung kulay. So, meron naman tayong tinatawag na biological weathering. Sa biological weathering, definitely humans and animals na ang involved dito. Which is, ang nangyayari ay nagkakaroon ng chemical weathering, biological weathering because of what we have done with our environment. So, pwedeng pagkukultivate ng lands, nasisira yung mga environment natin or mga minerals, or most commonly sa mining, yan. Best example nung biological weathering. Mining, digging, yan. So, proceed tayo sa erosion. It is a process where natural force like wind, water, or ice transport rocks, soil, and other materials on Earth's surface. Ganito po ang main idea natin kay erosion. Ito yung pagta-transfer ng sediments, small rocks or rocks from one places to another places. Or yung pag-move ng rocks, we call it erosion. Okay? Ganun lang siya. It's either through wind, through air, through water. Pares lang naman yung wind and water. Air. So, through wind or water. So, for example, umulan, then tumaas yung tubig sa ilog. There are parts na yung mga small sediments masasama sa alon. Matatransport yung mga sediments na yun into other places. That's what we call erosion. So, wind naman, pag nagkaroon ng thunderstorm or sandstorm, nagkaroon ng buhawi, yan. May mga sediments na masasama doon, tapos mapupunta or mamomove into other places. So, meron tayong mga example na nilagay dito sa slides na makikita din nyo naman sa Genyo. So, yung 12 Apostles by Victoria, Australia. So, it came from winds na na-curve yung mismong islands na yon. Yung mga limestone doon, limestone cliff doon. Which is, nagbigay siya ng good scenery. So, yung Nitmilok National Park by Northern Territory. So, carved by million years because of the wind and yun, river or water flow then. Okay, we have different ways to transport sediments through erosions. Meron tayong traction, saltation, suspension, and then solution. Pag traction, ito yung mga larger rocks na gumugulong. For example, sa tubig yan, yung mga pinakamalalaki na kayang gumalaw sa hydraulic action ng water or ng wave, that is traction. Pero yung mga small pebbles lang, na katulad sa ilog na nasasama yung mga small na bato, that is saltation. Pag suspension naman po, ito na yung pinaka-small particles, mga small sediments na nasasama sa tubig. Then yung solution naman po, ito yung kinds of rocks which is natutunaw na siya sa tubig, hindi mo na masyadong makikita. Okay? Totally nasama na siya. So, yun, not dissolved. So, solution happen when dissolved sediments and mineral are carried away by water from one place to another. So, kasi nga ganun nga si erosion. ang movements ng sediments from one place to another. So, suspension naman po, transport materials that are too large to be dissolved and too small to stay on the bed of the stream. Pag sinabi nating stream po, ito yung tabi ng ilog. So, yon, ilog or pampang. So, streamlines. So, hindi siya dissolve but somehow, nasasama pa rin. Okay? Yon. Saltation happen when larger sediments are transported and bounce along the stream bed. So, dito na papasok yung mga pebble rocks. And then, traction happen when a larger or too large to move away from stream bed, just to roll on it as the water flows. So, si traction kasi, ang pinakaiba nila ni saltation, si traction ay nagro-roll lang yung rocks, hindi siya nagba-bounce. Okay? Si saltation kasi, maliit na rocks siya na pwedeng mag-bounce to another or with another rocks pa din. So, ganun lang naman ang differences nila. So, again, pag sinabing traction, ito na yung sobrang laki ng mga rocks or sediments na hindi na kayang dissolve at hindi siya kaya masyadong i-push nung hydraulic water, kaya nagro-roll lang. But somehow, yung saltation naman po, ito naman yung kinds of small rocks, hindi ganun kaliit katulad kay suspension, but a pebble rocks na nagbabounce into streamline of the water lang. Then yung suspension naman, small rocks to na hindi naman nadadissolve, unlike kay solution na yung rocks is na-dissolve into water. Okay, oceans and sea waves. So, waves are formed when energy from another source cause the water to move in circular motion. So, may kinalaman na dito yung wind force, and then yon na nakapagbigay ng force para mag-move yung water into circular motion. So waves are commonly caused by wind, but seismic activity and gravitational pull of the moon can also caused by waves. So yung waves natin is either caused by the winds or seismic activity by the gravitational pull of the moon or yung shaking of grounds na makita natin deep in the oceans by the plate tectonics. So, ganun po nabubuo si waves natin. So, hydraulic action, abrasion, and corrosion are the three ways that waves erodes materials. Okay? Sa hydraulic action, ito yung kinds nung activity which is nade-deform na yung mismong rocks. Okay? So, si attrition naman, yon nasasama sa waves, and then yung abrasion na, yon napupunta or namumove yung mismong rocks from one another to another places. So, pag sinabi kasing hydraulic action, it's happened when the force of waves causes sediments and minerals to dislodge from the rocks. Ito yung, for example, sa Pangpang, diba? The more na tumatama yung agos ng tubig sa Pangpang, there are possibilities na may mga sediments na masama. That is because of hydraulic action. Okay? For example, sobrang lakas nung hampas ng tubig sa Pangpang, may tendency na magkaroon ng cracks, fracture yung mismong rocks ng Pangpang, at yung rocks na yun pwede mag-cause nung attrition or abrasion ng rocks or nung sediments na mas pasama sa tubig. So, ganun lang naman si hydraulic actions. It is a force kung saan nadidislog yung rocks from its parts. Okay, proceed tayo kay corrosion and abrasion. So, the dissolution of minerals from rocks caused by corrosion and abrasion happen when sediments carried by waves cause materials to dislodge from rocks. So, yun nga. Pag na-dislodge ng materials, magkakause na ng corrosion or abrasion. So, eto, makikita nyo meron tayong cliff face dito. So, the more na tumatama yung ocean waves, there are possibilities na ma-dislogs itong mga sediments na nandito sa gilid or yung mismong rocks natin dyan. So, the more na na-dislog yung rocks, magkakaroon tayo ng attrition of rocks, which is masasama siya sa abrasions or yung mga waves ng rocks. At yun, mag-form or mapunta sa other places. Next one is the groundwater. So, paano nga ba pag sinabing groundwater? Ano nga bang pinagkaiba niya kay saltwater? Si groundwater, nakikita natin siya underground, the earth surface. So, ito yung most commonly na naiinom natin. Unlike kay salt water. So, the movement of water underground also results in erosion. So, pwede siyang makapag-erode ng sediments. So, the seeping water from the surface to the ground can cause mechanical process to erode the rocks in additions. Okay, for example, may bundok, then naipon yung tubig sa lupa, there are possibility na madislog yun at mag-cause ng erosion. Anong pwede? Landslides. So, ganun po. So, ganun si groundwater maka-apekto with regards to erosions. Pwede mag-cause ng landslides. Diba? May mga bundok tayo na pag kinulang lang sa trees, puro lupa lang, there are possibilities na yung groundwater na yun ay mag-cause ng erosion or landslides para yun, ma-move yung other sediments from one places to another. Another is the wind. So, pag nagkakaroon tayo ng basically tornado o ipo-ipo man yan, so meron mga sediments of rocks na napapasama, which is namumove siya from one places to another place. So, ganun lang naman yung erosion to winds. Or pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng sandstorm. Kunyari, nasa Middle East tayo. So, pag nagkaroon ng sandstorm, may mga sediments na masasama sa hangin at mapupunta from one places to another places. Basta pag narinig niyo yung salitang erosion, it's something that tells us na nagmo-move yung rocks in one places to another or yung certain materials from one places to anothers. So, pwede rin si glaciers, okay? Si glaciers kasi hindi naman yan purong yelo lang, okay? 'Di ba? Mapapansin natin na kapag sa ibang bansa, malalaki yung glaciers nila. Then, sa ilalim ng glaciers, most commonly, merong mga lupa. Tendency, madalas na nangyayari sa tabing ilog, sa dagat yan. Pag yung ilog is nagkaroon ng glaciers, may tendency na may mapapasamang sediments, lalo na kapag nasa dagat, sa pangpang ng dagat. So, once na nasama yung sediments into ice or sa glacier, once na matuyo or matunaw yun, pwedeng mag-float si glaciers at mapunta into another places. So, nakaka-affect din si glaciers or nagkakaroon din ng erosion with regards to glaciers. Or may ambag si glaciers with regards to erosions of rocks or minerals. And then, next one is the gravity. Paano naman nangyayari to si gravity kay rocks or sediments? Aside from the glaciers, okay, yung mga bundok natin na may yellow or may mga glaciers din, nakakapag-cause din ng si gravity para mag-move yung other sediments from other places. So, glaciers move to lower elevation and the water melting between the glacial ice and rock surface contribute to the movement of glaciers. Okay? May tendency kasi na, for example, nasa taas yung cliff nung yellow. Then, if ever mahati or matunaw yung yellow na yon at may nasamang sediments doon, pwedeng mag-move yung sediments na yun at mag-cause nung erosions. Or for example, nagkaroon ng avalanche. So, that is why nakapag-cause din si gravity. Kasi si gravity, yung avalanche naman ay hindi naman pa-upward, that is pa-downward. So, mayroon tayong different process of glaciers. Meron tayong plucking, freezing, and then, melting. Sa melting pressure, ang nangyari muna kasi is, lumalambot yung rocks kasi nga masyado siyang nababad with regards to ice. So, pwedeng ma-break into small parts. Then, nagkakaroon tayo ng freezing throw. Then, hanggang sa mabitak na siya at magkaroon na tayo ng plucking. Pag sinabing plucking, pagsasama ng sediments to other materials like ice or yellow. So, proceed tayo dito kay mass wasting. Ito yung last part na hindi ko masyadong na-discuss last time. So, pag sinabi natin mass wasting, it's a movement of materials in mass wasting is always down a slope. Pag sinabing down a slope, pag sinabi pong slope kasi, yan yung tuktok. For example, sa bundok, pababa. That is mass wasting. Best example, through earthquake, volcanic eruption, landslide, and anything else, that is mass wasting. Okay? Pag nagkaroon tayo ng earthquake or volcanic eruption, pag nag-erupt yung volcan, from the slope, mag-release yun ng magma, then matutuyo or yan hanggang sa maging magma, hanggang sa magiging igneous rocks. That is mass wasting, which is habang bumababa or nagpo-float yung condensed rocks, the more na na-expose sa hangin hanggang tumitigas. So, that is mass wasting. Or nagkakaroon tayo ng eruption, yung pagtalsik ng mga small sediments na tinatawag natin na pyroclastic materials. So, ganun lang naman si mass wasting. Ang movement is from slope to down. Kung mula taas hanggang pababa. So, meron din tayong fall and slide. So, yung fall, most commonly kung ito ay may cliff of rocks, then nagkaroon ng physical weathering, ang tendency is mabibitak yung rocks na nasa taas. Then, once na nabitak yung rocks, magpo-fall lang down. Magpo-fall lang siya into ground. So, that is example of fall. Si slides naman, most commonly, ito nga yung landslide na tinatawag. Involved dito, it's either groundwater or other certain phenomena like volcanic eruptions or earthquake. So, pwedeng mag-cause ng landslides. Then, flow happen when there is an individual movements of grains within the flow itself. So, yun. Okay, mass wasting in relation to their movement. So, fall, rock fall or rock avalanche na nakikita natin sa mga cliff or sa snow mountain, yan. Yun yung madalas na nangyari, fall. Then slides, rock slides, slump, and then flow, creep debris and mud flow. Yung mud flow, yung baha yun na may kasamang putik. Caused yun by saturation of water. So, what's a problem na pwedeng kaharapin with regards to erosion and then mass wasting? Most commonly, itong erosion or mass wasting and then other physical weathering, meron tong environmental impact. Una, syempre, nababago yung ecosystem. Nagkakaroon ng negative impact with ecosystem. Maraming population ang nare-reduce, pwedeng tamaan or mamatay. Then, damage to infrastructure. Pag nagkaroon ng landslides or anything happen or from natural phenomena from these three, pwedeng magkaroon ng damage to infrastructure. Loss of fertile soil. Lalo na kapag nangyayari ang chemical reaction or chemical weathering. Kasi the more na na-expose ang soil into acid, the more na nahihirapan tong maging fertile. Pag sinabi kasi nating fertile soil, ito po ay yung soil na masustansya or high-end with nutrients. But since na-expose to us to sa acid po, like chemical reactions or chemical weathering, yun, hindi siya nagiging fertile at there are possibilities na walang halaman na tumubo doon or if ever, kung meron man, mamatay yung halaman. So, effects on water quality. So, pag nagkakaroon tayo ng erosion, specifically, yung mga buhangin nahalo sa tubig, lumalabo yung tubig, so nagiging pangit yung itsura ng quality ng water natin. And so more pa. So, but most commonly, ito lang muna ang nakalagay. So, yun po, hanggang dun lang po ang discussion natin. Hopefully, naintindihan nyo naman po. Then, may ibibigay po akong certain activities. All you have to do is to answer that. Hindi naman siya ganung makahirap kasi yung activities na ibibigay ko is most commonly related to our next topic. So, kasi nga sabi ko, diba, before tayo mag-move to our next topic, kailangan meron na kayong summarize paragraph of that topic or meron na kayong summary of the topic nung next topic natin and then after nung pagtapos din nung topic natin. So, yun po. Pay attention with the quiz kasi magbibigay po ako next meeting. Hopefully, mapanood nyo tong video na to or yung discussion na to at ma-open nyo po. So, magbibigay po ako ng quiz. Antabay lang po at pakireview po yung mismong topic natin. So, again po, pakireview po na itong topic na to. Then, magbibigay po ako ng recitation muna and then quiz tayo. Recitation for some recap and then quiz. Again po, ulitin ko, I highly encourage everyone to participate in recitation, especially for those students na medyo mababa ang score from the previous quiz natin. So, yun po. Thank you po and then keep safe.